So we start with the ground school upstairs in the classroom, and that's the academics. That's the meteorology, the navigation, the instruments, the engines, everything they need to write and pass their private pilot's license. As part of the Aviation 20, we have the practical and applied arts part of this class is building an airplane. The very first test is a walk-around test. So they learn all the parts of the airplane, and it is the walk-around before you go to fly. It's a 40-item test. They have to do it by memory, and it's a pass-fail. We work with Mitchinson's flight school, and there are two other flight schools that we also have been very cooperative and help all the time. Once they pass that, we carry on. We move on to the building of these airplanes. Everything in a real airplane is right here before you in this size and that scale. So they choose the kit from a list that I have developed over the years that are good flyers. And they have to put them together, learning the parts, patience, persistence, all of those technical skills, reading plans. A lot of these kids have never read plans before and had to build something from a plan. So as you see, you'll have the plans underneath, they build on top of the plans. The end of this airplane has to fly. And that's their practical exam for the practical and applied arts part. It has to fly. And sometimes there are varying descriptions of how it flies, but it has to fly. And whatever it does, they have to be able to explain it in aviation terminology. The second part, Aviation 30, we have them doing some riveting, working with aluminum skills, and they will learn to fly radio control airplanes. We're working on developing a program where the flying actually becomes part of this class, and that's the important part, is to get them started at an economical foundation. Those skills you can apply to anything. Reading a plan is following directions, and interpreting, because you have to interpret a lot of these things. Not every step is explained. You have to make some, in aviation we call it interpolations, where you have to, you've got a certain amount of knowledge and you have to make your best educated guess as to how to solve a problem. And that's what a lot of this is problem solving. And you've got to solve a problem. Are you going to give up on it, or are you going to try and solve it? Some pride in the work that you do involves persistence.
I've been really passionate about learning about the history behind aircraft and how they kind of work, because I understand the concept of the history behind them, but how a plane flies, how the engine works, was a complete mystery. So that's why I really wanted to get into it. But when things are from a textbook, like in a very scientific or mathematical perspective, it gets lost. But when you can really feel and touch the instruments on a panel, or do a walk around and actually see a plane, it becomes much more easy to understand when it's explained to them. We have a common goal, and then it's kind of like fly in the sky one day or build aircraft. It's really just, I don't know, you feel at home, you feel like there's multiples of you around.
First it was like a little scared, like if I was gonna understand everything or not, but getting to know it, even now, like I still don't really know perfectly, even though I'm in Aviation 30, but it's honestly really cool, and I feel really lucky to go to a school like they have aviation class and all that. It's just more of a confidence building in the 20 level, I guess.
Personally, I knew nothing about aviation. I didn't know a thing until I came here. And then we started with the lift formula, and then the theory of flight and all that. And now I just went on my discovery flight last Tuesday.
At the beginning of the class, he gives us a sheet saying like what you want to get this year, like a thing. And I think that's a really good teaching style that teachers should use more often. I've learned like that I kind of know a lot more than I would think I'd know, and like feel a lot, like really confident that I can do it in this class. Because what he says, like, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. So I think that I really enjoy it.